Welcome everybody here to Na'Vi versus Monkey Business game at #1. We were basically chuckling over here during the drafting phase because we called the Alchemist.
Excuse me, I called it.
What?
Let's don't be like no. I called the Alchemist before. I don't know. I called it, but I don't agree with it. It's really
I fully
greedy.
agree with it.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? When the draft went down, I really liked what Na'Vi were doing to deal with. Like, I thought the potential of going the Doom Lich opening was quite good versus the Wisp that they, was taken away from them. So I think that opening is quite strong because you have this combination of being able to just eliminate whatever the Wisp hero is, and its like viability. Oftentimes, like Tiny will be your hero if you can just shut him down, take away those spells. Plus, then you have an Aghanims on Doom. It removes certain mechanics of most Wisp heroes. For example, Tiny has the Craggy, thank you. You have the Phantom Assassin who has Blur. You have these mechanics, right? And then you have the Lich as well, who buffs up your armor so much. So many of the traditional Wisp heroes that work well are going to be countered by one or the other, right? And I feel it's an incredibly strong dual lane as well. Really good setup. I like the way Na'Vi responded to that, though, because I said they kind of needed just an autopilot hero, right? Yeah. And I feel like Razor is definitely that hero that is just able to, pop Eye of the Storm, maybe gets out the damage drain, maybe pops a Plasma Field, but then he just goes from there, right? So he's not really threatened by the Doom in any way. And I think that with the mech on SF and with the early power of the Razor and now the strong laning phase that Na'Vi does have, like, yes, Monkey Business's laning phase is much stronger overall, but that's what they have to have. Yes. They have to have an incredibly strong laning phase. Otherwise, if you start going into the 20-minute mark and, Na'Vi are forcing team fights, you don't really have much to stop that unless you have just a gigantic, like a really good net worth and experience advantage over Na'Vi by that point.
And that was our big debate that we were having beforehand. It's like, okay, when does Na'Vi actually strike? When does Na'Vi push this issue against Monkey Business? Because if they don't push this issue, Monkey sit back, they farm up, and they happy as Larry because they'll have all the weapons they want to. You'll get the Aghanim Scepter onto from the Alchemist given onto anyone else they want to, if that's also the path they want to go. And they'll just be so much stronger than Na'Vi will be. But Na'Vi also, the Legion Commander, really works well for them because it gives them that early aggression that they need to find. They need to get that Blink Dagger up so you can jump in, you can lock down the Wisp, you can press the attack off all these slows like the buffed up Jakiro as well.
Yeah, exactly. For me, the last pick, Legion Commander, I was looking at it, I was like, you need something that will actually put pressure on Monkey Business by 20 minutes, and I thought Clockwork. Yeah, but Clockwork would still have a hard time in the laning phase. What I love about Na'Vi and what I said, they had the strong laning phase, is that I was specifically referencing the Legion Commander Wisp duo lane, which is incredibly strong. And if Monkey Business run the traditional lanes that they were going to, which would be the Jakiro supporting the Necrophos at the top lane, they're actually not going to do that well at shutting out this dual lane. They may even lose the lane if they're not careful. I don't think it'll happen because Necrophos is much stronger at level 1 than he used to be, with like a 50 damage buff to Death Pulse, which is pretty insane. But they're not really going to be able to shut out Funnick. And I think the combination of having an early mech on your SF, some stat items on the Razor, eventually an Ags, which gives you pushing power, and then the Legion Commander just slowly snowballing with these duels, I think that Na'Vi will take control by 20 minutes and never let it go for 15 minutes, and they'll have such an advantage that they should be able to end the game. But the thing is if they lose any amount of control, they're going to be punished so heavily by the greediness of Monkey Business choosing this Alchemist mid.
Yeah, and the Alchemist is the crazy thing to put into the mid lane. Perch was actually calculating it before. We're actually, hello bottom lane. Moon Meander, you're very, very low. And he went to Vow first level, which is obviously normal, but has to burn the salve, gets back past his own tier 1 tower and will end up surviving. But this Alchemist, yeah, it's like when you pick up that bounty rune, that first 100, it's 14 last hits was the calculation that you actually start with for the Alchemist.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's why they were talking about it earlier, the Broodmother plus Alchemist, where we had the Broodmother would split up the spiders and put them on either side of the runes just to make sure that the Alchemist would be able to get to that bounty. Like, it's so critical for him to, it's actually much more critical than him sitting in lane half the time.
Yeah.
The experience is important from the laning phase, but the amount of gold you get from a bounty rune is just absurd a lot of the time. So. He's gonna be feeling a lot of pressure though in the beginning, especially now level 3 and level 5 from Dendi. And then that bottom lane, like yes, Doom Lich is a very strong lane to ensure that Doom actually gets a good amount of farm, but it's still Razor. He's still a lane dominator. It's not a hero that you're going to be able to put a whole lot of pressure on, I feel. And as you saw earlier, it's even potential that Na'Vi pick up a kill in this lane.
Yeah, that's actually why I want to watch when Crit moves out of the lane and how much pressure is applied on this top lane by Snako and Funnick. Because if they can keep Crit up here, then there's never that rotation to force a reaction from one, Horst, and two, make PSM do something. Because look at where PSM is right now. He actually got the drag down. So the Radiant Creep Wave is basically being denied up right now, which is screwing around with the Alchemist. It's going to hurt Alchemist a little bit. Actually, technically it hurts him a lot because there's a lot of Greevil's Greed kills that he doesn't get.
Well, did he pull it from middle or did he pull it from bottom lane? I think he pulled it from bottom lane, right? Where he stands here on this side of the cliff. Yeah, that's what he did. And he pulls the telekinesis the creep over the cliff and then it runs down and catches the bottom lane. So it's actually hurting the Doom's farm. But it's still an incredibly intelligent play because the Razor can be left alone.
No, there's no acid spray to combine with it. Denny being concocted up, but he is really, really low. And, well, PSM will be tossing back Moon Meander, but with that crit, as well as the boots, he's got all the movement speed from Scorched Earth, and the acid spray's down. This will be first one. PSM going to tick. Dendy actually came closer as well, copping a little bit of spill damage from that and cancelling off his bottle charge. So Denny has 80 life, sitting back behind this tier 1 tower, and he can't come any closer. All he can do is leech experience from this mid lane.
Oh, top lane. Miracle's actually going to be dropping pretty low here. In fact, they get the kill. They just run at him straight up and manage to pick off the Necro Pulse. He didn't have enough mana for another Death Pulse, so between the combination of a really good hit from Overwhelming Odds, which hit the full creep wave plus the hero, and then the Wisp Balls.
Keep your eyes on bottom lane. Moonmeander's done a little bit of a run around, but of course has an Observer Ward in the lane, so he sees this coming. Yeah,
and you're not going to be able to do enough damage fast enough because you'll just by like the third hit, you'll have lost all of your damage against the damage drain, Static Link from Razor.
It doesn't stop him.
Yeah, they'll try and chase him away and make sure he doesn't get CS, but they won't really have kill potential. The same kind of goes with PSM here, unless they catch Fly, because or maybe they catch Doom without Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is one of the abilities I've been kind of debating with Blitz quite a bit. I feel it's so OP that it makes Doom one of the more powerful heroes in this patch. I really feel like he's A tier.
It's actually going to be a bit of a problem as well for Horst, because he wants to go for that static link you're talking about, but it's not just Scorched Earth movement speed, it's the phase move build coming in from Moon Meander. As, yeah, Fly's in no man's land. He's just trying to outrun Horst, and now with a Plasma Field, Fly will be able to survive Horst. He needs one more attack, but Fly's got space to salve up. Horst still has a hell of a lot of damage here, but it's not enough to kill off Fly, and he can't catch up to him. They both have the boost, but it's 3-1-5 movement speed versus the 3-5-8.
Snako trying to get away. The last Death Pulse isn't going to be enough, but neither is the Overwhelming Odds, and Funnick doesn't have the kind of movement speed. He turns and fights Crit, but he can't take this anymore.
He's got to back it up, but then again, Snako is still in the neighborhood. Bottles as well as one charges a miracle. He's so low. Moon Meander's actually going to get the kill over on the Rubik in the meantime, but it's a trade-off. It's the Rubik for the Necro, and Na'Vi will take that trade any day.
Yeah, I mean, the Legion Commander Wisp is one of the most powerful dual offlanes in the game because of the ability to press the attack onto the Wisp and heal both of you up like that, and it's an absurd amount of regen, and you could really see the power of those long, drawn-out fights. Monkey Business really thought they could continue to take that, but nice turnaround from Na'Vi, and their offlane's definitely working out. Horst is suffering a bit in farm. He's 14-4 compared to the 20-3. The pickoff on the Rubik doesn't mean that much, but it's the pressure that's keeping the Razor from farming that is actually setting Monkey Business up for success.
I want to really keep my eyes closely here on Dendi, because I also want to see his build. He's going for this the Sage's Mask. I'm assuming this is meant to go into a Ring of Aquila for the SF, but you're talking about like getting a very early mech for him up and running, and then we still have to look for this early pressure. Like, it's still 2-2. Your top gold per minute still belong to the Doombringer as well as the Alchemist.
I actually almost expected Snako, who has now found... Oh, don't tell me this is going to be a kill. It's going to be pretty close.
The Wisp Spirit's not enough. Yeah. Funnick might move in for... Well, actually, no, he can't. The Ice Path will lock him out. For Overwhelming Odds was what I was thinking. But they'll be pushed back.
Oh, Dendi. Oh, nice bait. Maybe they can actually get the stun on him? Okay.
Triple Razors, but he's still got Chemical Rage up. So the Razors will do some work, but it's not enough.
Yeah, if he didn't pop the Chemical Rage before he stunned himself up, that would have been a great kill.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But bottom, oh Jesus, oh the critical! Moonmeander picks up the kill on the Razor behind the tower because he gets a clutch critical before the TP can complete, and Moonmeander's just going, I don't even expect this at all. I mean, up against a Razor, Scorched Earth is strong, and yeah, her right clicks are pretty insane sometimes, but and he barely manages to escape ahead at the SF too. This is more than I expected out of this Doom.
Yeah, it was good for him, but they still lost the courier at the same time. So that courier flew underneath the tier 1 tower, so it was an easy pickup for it. So Na'Vi still gets something back out of everything.
Oh, they get a good overwhelming odds here. Funnick diving in. If only they had the duel.
Crits there. He managed to actually hit that ice path from a very, very long way away. But you're right, if they could lock in the duel, they would have a guaranteed kill on Necro. And this is something which Monkey just don't have yet. There's no level 6 over a Miracle. The duel breath's keeping Funnick back, and now the duel is up. Fly will end up dying here, and the winner does go to the Legion Commander as they go for more. The Tether after it, and while there's no more heal to come out from Snako, it's just going to be this Tether and more supports rotating in from Monkey. There's a concoction stun, and on the Legion Commander, just after he did the press the attack. But they just keep fighting. They've got so much extra damage at the moment. But underneath the tier 2 tower, I don't think he got that much damage. But there's no mana on Notel, so he rotates himself in, but there's no more control to be given. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The Necrophos being shut down in the early laning phase too is so tragic. He's one of those heroes that needs that guaranteed farm for about 15 minutes. Otherwise, you don't really feel his impact by like 30 minutes. Yeah, and now he's just going to be kind of like a walking ultimate in the mid game. And they're going to have to be so reliant on Moonmeander, who's going to pick up a kill on Funnick. Yeah. Unless Wiz can save him the heal. The deny, nope, it's actually going to be the heal, but no, Doombringer's there. And with the Scorched Earth as well as the Phase Boost, look at Snako just run. It's the haste rune on him which will allow him to survive that Doombringer. Moonmeander, I think that, you know, everyone bumped, like myself included, when we were talking about Monkey Business earlier. Miracle, the best player on the team, but Moonmeander puts out some performances in matchups where he has to. Like, I feel in so many scenarios, Monkey Business, I'm looking at the matchup, I'm like, if Moonmeander can do well, Monkey Business will win this game. And this is, again, one of those scenarios, because Miracle's going to be shut down by the aggro duel of Legion Commander and Wiz. So Moonmeander has to perform really well to make up for that top lane essentially dying constantly to Na'Vi. And he's doing it. Great rotation up to the top lane. Perfect timing for that. Interesting his build as well, going in for the phase as well as the drum build for the Doombringer. Because most of the Doombringers we've been seeing have been like rushing up the Aghanim Scepter, looking for maybe the initiation, or, as I had earlier today, the Hand of Midas build. The very, very greedy kind of Doom build into a big mid game. But they're already greedy enough in this draft. I don't think we need the Midas in this game. That would be greed on greed on greed. Look at they're cutting through. The Observe Ward actually scattered the fact that Moonmeander went into the tree line, and now they reveal it, and the duel will begin. No TP support can come in time. This Doombringer dies, and Funnick now has a bonus 20 damage from his 2-1 duels. Yeah, when Doom is separated from the Lich, you got to remember he has exceptionally low armor. Like, he's level 8, and he only has 10% magic resistance. Coming bottom lane, they're after crit. Jakiro will go into the tree line now. He's still got Ice Path available, which can screw around with this, but ends up getting a little bit confused about exactly where he wants to throw at any ability. Ends up throwing out nothing, and they'll lose him. Kind of an interesting smoke rotation here into the enemy jungle. I think they're trying to catch out, like, maybe Necrophos, who could do some jungle farm, just because he has nothing else he can do at this point. Middle's obviously taken out by the Alchemist. He can't really show himself bottom, where Dendy's going to die. Yeah, the Doom's already out in him, and there's nothing he can really do about this. He understands that. And so he just gets a deny. He gets a deny on some creeps, making the best of a bad situation. Yeah. While up at the top lane, the tier 1 tower dropped. So Na'Vi able to force a little bit more positioning. We're still looking at a Doombringer who's gone 5 for 1 with a phase boot drum build. He's just really so tanky that Na'Vi are going to have a very difficult time dealing with him. But what else have you really got that's going to be a problem? Like, Notel is now farming up in the Radiant jungle, working towards this Radiance. He's well behind what has been normal for an Alchemist, even though he does have the top net worth. We've been looking at Radiances around the 12-minute mark, and he's not going to reach that in this game.
Pimp, if you could, just alternate between the CS and the net worth to display the absurd difference. Well, first, we got to kill at bottom.
Yeah, Dendy is once again going to die. This is second death. The Requiem of Souls is only the death Requiem, and then relocate in with the Macro Pyre down. Vorce will arrive in this. They start the duel over on crit as another successful victory. 30 bonus damage now to Funnick. Just watch it keep ticking up. And NOTAL, well, he's ready to blink himself over. Throws out the concoction on PSM. He's not going to commit to this. Instead, he just wants to blink back in the range of the tier 1 tower, as well as Vorce, hilariously enough. And Funnick press the attack, moves forward. He's after NOTAL. The ASUS spray is going to go down again, and Concoction is prepping as well. They're very deep underneath this tower, and that's when they go for the Concoction stun. But Vorce being kept up by Seneko, doing his work. NOTAL can't do enough damage. Yes, he can actually. He's just on the edge of the ASUS spray, finding himself dead. The Doom is back off cooldown again for Doom. So they chase after Funnick, but it's NOTAL with a double Concoction stun. Now they go into the Doom over on Io. They want to ensure these kills if possible. PSM is just hanging in the tree line next to that tower. I think Crit's actually worked this one out. He's walking over, it's like, yep, there's the captain of Na'Vi, and he'll die to the liquid fire, and that's an easy pickup. So Na'Vi feeding kill after kill to Monkeys on the bottom lane.
I imagine that was actually planned out by Monkey Business. When I first saw that they were going to continue fight underneath that tier 1 tower and re-engage, Moonmeander like going back in like that, I was just like, what in the world are you doing? Like, there's no reason to take that sort of fight. You're obviously going to lose it. But now with the, like, when he buys back like that, and then the Alchemist re-initiates with his incredibly powerful nuke. This is the power of the Alchemist, by the way. I keep on saying, Alchemists don't need to run so farm heavy. They can just as easily be incredibly strong gankers because Solar Crest is as strong as ever. Oh. Nice pick off on Miracle.
Yeah, another duel to come in. Dandy was also making his way in with an invis room, but NOTAL doesn't want to bar of this. Not yet. That concoction's coming off cooldown in a moment, and with both Solar Crest and Blink Dagger, he'll have the confidence to run forward. And yep, there it is. The concoction's prepping up. The plastic field's out from Vorce, and now he blinks forward. The press attack's already used by Funnick, and getting the ASUS spray down too. They're going to tick through this Legion Commander. I'm still very concerned that Funnick just doesn't have the survivability without the Wisp in the fight. But that hasn't really been a problem at the moment.
I mean, it's going to be a problem. Again, the Solar Crest combination with the Alchemist allows him to do essentially like 600, maybe 700 damage.
PSM, goodbye.
Yeah. Because you hit a hero, he's stunned up for a long duration underneath Acid Spray. You get the minus 10 armor on a hero before the Unstable Concoction lands. Most of these heroes are only operating on 5, maybe 10 armor at the time, so they're dipping either to no armor or negative armor, even in some cases. So the Unstable Concoction is doing so much damage by itself, and then the Acid Spray takes in, you get a couple of right clicks from some of these heroes, and this is dire side advantage as well. Monkey Business, I think they've taken enough control of this game. They're going to look great at 25-30 minutes. They just have to weather through Na'Vi's peak, which is, I would say, the 20-minute mark, maybe 25.
I think they've got enough to deal with that peak anyway.
Yeah.
And the damage done by Na'Vi in this first 15 minutes, it's only been one tier 1 tower. The kills have been fairly even. The golden experience advantage is actually going the way of Monkeys this early on. Obviously, you're going to get a gold advantage when you're running both a Doombringer as well as an Alchemist, but it's keeping the experience up as well, which just shows that even with a greedy lineup, they're still itemizing to fight. So they understand that Na'Vi have a peak, and they just keep trying to battle it. There is the concern about what is not seen in the net worth, and that is the 40 bonus damage on that Legion Commander. If this keeps building up, Funnick's going to be a real problem for Monkeys. They're going to have to control him so heavily, and Miracle's in no position to do this. Like, you look at the Necro, he's got brown boots, a magic wand, a hand of ice, and a null talisman. There's no blink, there's no force, there's no mech, there's nothing along these lines that allow the Necro to be that control factor.
Yeah, well, pretty much everyone on Monkey Business should be itemizing towards stat items and fighting around that 20 to 25 minute mark, because otherwise you just give up all your tier 2s and tier 3s.
Necro's got to play catch up. Yeah,
Necro has to play catch up. There's nothing else you can do. Experience is also incredibly important, so the minus has that extra factor to it.
Na'Vi's trying to prepare for the tier 1 tower in mid. But it's very obvious that Monkeys is also doing the same thing. They left an aggressive ward up on the cliffside Na'Vi, so they can see when Monkeys will move back into their jungle, and in fact they left 2 wards.
Oh, wow. So Seneko was doing so well in the top lane that somebody made the executive call, maybe it was Seneko, that he will go the mech, and both the Shadow Fiend and the Razor will go for the SNY stat item. I figured it was going to be SF mech, but Dendy being allowed to go the SNY means a lot. The SF will transition into the mid to late game, being a lot more powerful because you won't have to make that trade-off. Like eventually you have to sell your mech and replace it. Now there's just going to be much more efficient build-up with the Wisp getting the mech and eventual Guardian Greaves.
They might be a little bit sad though once they realize what's happening here. So they Na'Vi smoke up to try and find Monkey Business, but Monkey Business, they come down and they find Seneko. The instant Doom and the Ice Path as well on the Wisp. They actually put him under for over a minute with that Reaper's Scythe. Well worth it, but the tier 1 tower is dropping in the meantime.
Yeah, it's really the extra 30 seconds, which you can argue makes it okay for Monkey Business, because it was still a 5-man smoke for a support.
Yeah, it was also avoiding the Na'Vi smoke at the same time, so they could have lost the Alchemist, they could have lost a core.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that the Wisp is going for a very key item, right? The strength of Na'Vi is supposed to be 20 to 30 minutes when they have mech, they have all the team fight power, and they take they just push down a whole bunch of towers and actually gain a net worth lead over Monkey Business despite the farm efficiency of the Alchemist because of that. But they may not reach that point just because they chose to go for this slightly more efficient build with the mech being stalled up.
Well, Force is a long way up. The Ice Path's going to connect, same with the Concoction. Press the attack will break him free as the Lich ulti does not bounce. But look at Moomiander. He walks over. He realized the attack's going to come, but the Doom put on the cooldown for now. And Moomiander is well deep behind the lines, but the Ciegas Immortal, he's actually hoping he gets attacked here. He's losing so much damage, however, to a Force, but NOTAL will finish the job with the Concoction. Miracle being fueled up, but he'll survive through it all too. And now Funnick is way too deep. Moomiander still hasn't broken the Aegis until now. The Ice Path will catch out too. Crispin on the money with this, and they just don't know where to fight. Like, what do you steal? You steal Ice Path for PSM, but NOTAL again with that blink, jumping in with the unstable Concoction, following up with the Razors. They'll back up, but the Death Pulse are bringing them back up again. Crit, can be careful to take the aggro of this tower. The Ice Path's going to keep Moomiander in too close, and they will be losing this Doom. Scorch's coming now off cooldown. No, no, he is not going to survive through this.
The miss uphill
speed as well.
It's Solar Crest and all the miss uphill. They still manage to pick up the Jakiro at the very least. As Dandy comes forward, what a great Ice Path.
Man, it might be great for him, but that side is going to drop on Dandy's head. NOTAL was able to take out the Wisp through the back lines, and PSM forced to run himself away. The Acid Spray will come down. PSM, get out of the Acid Spray! No. He actually stuck around inside of it. He knew he couldn't run himself out of it, so he ended up just staying and accepting his fate.
That has to be one of the most awkward team fights. I really got to point out, Funnick has been doing great this game, but his performance in that last team fight was questionable to begin with, and then when you saw the outcome, it was like, okay, that was just wrong. Funnick, what he did is he hit himself, like he was having an issue when he first TP'd and he had to blink back, so he never really could get an early duel initiation, and then he hit himself in these trees down here, below the tier 2 tower, away from the Acid Spray, waiting on his blink initiation to the Necrophos. But by the time he jumps in, especially since he jumped in and didn't use overwhelming odds first, he didn't kill the Necrophos, the duel doesn't work out, the Necrophos survives, he ends up dying because then his team has actually already lost the team fight. By the time he goes in and goes for that pickoff, he's surrounded by 4 heroes.
It is Aghanim's Doom. It is Aghanim's Doom. NOTAL is playing the support Alchemist, the utility build Alchemist, by going for that Solar Crest, the casual Vit booster, to give him all the life he requires during the fight, and is going to start buffing up his own teammates.
Yeah, you just put everything on the Doom. I mean, you saw the way he survived through that last engagement because of the uphill misses as well as the Solar Crest given over by NOTAL to Moonmeander. Then you throw the Ice Armor on there. It's just so many ways to be able to mitigate the incoming damage, and he's got Scorched Earth, which is this heavy regen. Now with the BKB and the stats, you can't forget about the stats that are given to him from the Aghanim Scepter synthesized as well. So he's a tanky beast, will not be stopped, and Monkey Business will continue to hold the advantage, and because they're dire side and they have a great Roche-taking team, build up these Aegises and these cheeses eventually to always hold a team fight advantage. And Na'Vi, I don't know how they come back into this game, but it has to be forcing a really great team fight in the next 5 minutes. Otherwise, they just lose out on the farm battle.
The sad thing is, like, you could say, like, Na'Vi, okay, you look for pickoffs. But the only person who can do that right now is Funnick, because Denny went for this big stat item. Like, he goes for SMY, and he builds into BKB. There's no Shadow Blade, Blink Dagger, BKB style of initiation to get a big Requiem of Souls off. And then you maybe say, well, is it the Razor's job? But Razor is also SMY build. So it's the run at them, but it's a very obvious run at them, and they don't push fast enough. Like, the fact you've even still got this Jakiro here, that's a level 4 liquid fire, which means you take little damage when you come onto the tower, plus the tower's always ticking down. And you got enough physical damage coming out from this Doombringer that you can just burn through the towers as well. So, I'm not quite sure how Na'Vi are meant to get the better trade-offs when they go for this push kind of style, and when they smoke gank, they're still at a disadvantage coming into the engagement. Because you're fighting under a Doombringer who is almost impossible to kill.
Yeah.
And a Necro who is still playing catch-up, but if you drop low and you get hit by that Scythe, you lose buildings then.
Yeah.
Because you're just down for so damn long. And it's actually interesting to see that Miracle is going to be building into this mech now. So he starts it up at 22 minutes, but he's already got the headdress as well as the buckler.
Yeah, he just might as like he's a utility hero for now.
I'm
like
assuming
maybe
it's,
at 50 minutes.
for Greaves. Like, is Greaves the play here?
Yeah. Guardian Greaves gives you that extra bonus armor with the Doom is low HP. He now has the Guardian Greaves that'll kick into play as well. The extra heal. I mean, there's just so much sustain on Monkey Business. Eventually, an Aghanims will be given to the Necrophos as well, and then you'll see him start being a bit more of a carry. He'll get maybe a Blink Dagger as well and just be able to jump in a lot more. But for now, he's squishy and just needs to sit back and be utility.
No Tell doesn't find anything. Oh my, that utility is kicking into. Chris got himself a Yule Scepter. And with the high points up in Ice Path as well. I guess just... So you got a 2.2 duration of Ice Path. A very long stun. The perfect setup. Another way to take Legion Commander out of her duel when she tries to battle against whoever she picks on. And if she picks on the Jakiro, that's also a horrible target. Jakiro's got a huge amount of strength gain through a support hero.
Which is why Funnick desperately needs to finish up his BKB.
Yeah.
He can't afford to be interrupted.
And there isn't, well, yeah.
I guess that's, you know, I was saying, I don't know how they, Na'Vi turns things around.
They're TPing him. Moonmeander's about to just walk himself in. Still got the BKB. Funnick's over on the side, and then already used press the attack. Gets caught up by the Ice Path. This is the exact control combo we're talking about, and the relocate save does not work, which means Wisp, he's coming back to the fight. He tried to drag him to the mid lane, that won't work. They catch out a Vorce in the tree line. They'll commit the Doom to this one, and a Vorce will end up dying. The Ice Bar's already down, and, well, Razor's on the sidelines for 75 seconds. The Wisp will drop as well. It's just the perfect combination at the moment from Monkeys. They're getting pick-off after pick-off when Na'Vi are looking to fight. And it was just such an easy prep. Put Doom in the trees, slowly TP the heroes in, and walk in, and Na'Vi... Funnick was up so far that they had to commit to the fight.
A lot of people, I mean, myself included, I was talking about Funnick's questionable play earlier.
He's dead.
Is he?
You've got the Lich ulti as well. Actually, yeah, I thought the rest of Monkeys would be moving up with them, but not the case.
Yeah, they were kind of still pushing out and farming the jungle. The problem is you're going to see a lot of plays coming out from Na'Vi. It's been that way ever since Roshan was taken by Monkey Business, and it's going to get even worse. That Na'Vi just won't have good fights to take anymore. But they know they also need to take fights. So you're going to see a lot of situations where you're like, why did they do that? Why did they try and force a fight there? Why didn't they wait out the BKBs? It's because they have a lot of pressure on them, and they know that they're on such a timeline, you have to make sort of desperate moves. If you want to be able to change the fate of this game. Because it's like 90% secured for Monkey Business by this point.
Yeah.
If not more.
Well, they've only got like 7.5k net worth advantage.
Yeah, it's
as
not
well
much,
as like 7.5k
right?
experience, 25 minutes in.
It's like...
all the items that we're really searching for on these heroes, and they went past that danger mark, like you were saying, like 25 minutes is the mark. 25 minutes is Na'Vi's time.
Yeah.
But it's most definitely not Na'Vi's time right now.
They just lost a little bit too much control early. Roshan could never go to
gonna break.
Business.
They start with the Lich ulti. At least the BKBs will protect them, and they keep that ulti up. The dual Doom is going to go down. The Wisp be the one to find the kill. It was a dual win, and Crip forced into Roshan. Goes the Ice Path, and then TP out, not in time. The SM is there for the Fate Bolt, and Na'Vi instantly try and capitalize. They're going to go in for Roshan. 5 is available for Doom. And Miracle was thinking about this. He got a Blink Dagger plus the Greaves, which is already triggered. They'll let it go, and in fact, they just catch out Snako. He was just wanting to join the rest of his friends, and now they can side them down if they want to. He's so low, and No Tail is chasing him into the tree lines. Just punch him. Punch him.
They really did not want to use Reaper's Scythe on that kill.
Which is weird. You think you want to. Fly's about to die in the mid.
That's a little bit weird because they should have known, like, oh, he's doing Roshan. Like, they're doing Roshan, they're going to pop out and probably push out middle from there.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought bottom just because, one, the Wisp just died there, plus there's a tier 1 and tier 2 up at bottom lane, but it's still a risky place to be.
An 85-second cooldown isn't really that much when you think about it. Like, if you take the Wisp out of it, then there's no reinforcements for Na'Vi during that push.
I mean, if you look at it, that the quote-unquote uptime of Necrophos' ultimate is actually the amount of time that a hero is dead compared to its, the cooldown.
Yep.
It's actually absurd, especially later on to the game, because you can see situations where 3 heroes are Reaper Scythe dead. Like, because he gets 1 kill in the beginning, and then maybe he gets, like, he'll get a refresher eventually. Oh, Miracle's going to be jumped on here.
Yeah, the relocate's coming in as well, which will ensure the kill. Going the way of the Razor in this case, but Mumiana's got his BKB up. He's already triggered off that Doom, but Estandi got the BKB up, so not taking as much damage. Force, however, caught inside that Macropire and the Lich ulti. They will try and split. The Lich ulti will fly. Welcome to Team Global.
Wait, is it going on the Wisp or Havost?
It's going on Havost.
Okay,
and they're split up. Yep. 116
yeah.
life is all that's left. But Dendy is ticking out. They'll press the attack to give him his life back, however. So the Doom doesn't find a kill, and Na'Vi are actually surviving and initiating as well. Not something I was expecting to see happen.
When they went for that tier 1 tower push at the bottom lane, I was going to say that the way that Na'Vi would come back into this game is to finish out their BKBs. Because that's obviously critical on the Legion Commander. The SF can't afford to take those unstable concoction nukes anymore.
Ooh, Funnick blinks himself away. Found all of the Monkey's team. Crit trying to get himself in range for the Yule Scepter, and he can't do it. The Ice Path won't be able to reach, and Notal realizes he's going to have to concoct himself. Also note too that Notal will not be buying the Aghanims upgrade for the Necro. Necro looks like he's going to do it himself.
Yeah, maybe they figure that Alchemists aren't... because they don't control the game quite enough, and that the Necrophos is far enough behind, that they need Alchemist to be the other carry, the 2 position behind the Doom.
Unless Necro is going to go for something else. Jump in, there's your duel again. Funnick's already got 68 stolen damage, and now they're going to bring down more as 82 points of damage, and into Miracle. A double kill arriving for Funnick. This Legion just hit so hard.
Yeah.
Like over 220 damage per attack. For heroes like Lich that just don't have much, and then he actually gave away Ice Armor as well, Frost Armor as well. So Rubik is buffing up everyone else on Na'Vi.
Yeah, the DD helped out with on Dendi as well. And Na'Vi are playing this, I think, very smartly. They gave up a little bit too much control early, but they sort of waited out their BKBs, and once they did have their BKBs, they're pressuring really well. I mean, the smoke gank that started all of this for them to be able to take up Roshan was brilliant, and now maybe they can end this game in the next 10 minutes, just taking 1 lane of Rax, falling back on another Roshan, going another lane of Rax.
It's like they want to end it now.
Yeah,
Chris keeping him out, and there's a concoction over on Dendi, but press the attack comes back off cooldown. They just keep pumping up Dendi a little bit more. Snako trying to keep that tether up. The S-Spray's not making it easy, but they get through the tier 3 tower and now attacking into that melee Rax. And where do you really go from here? Mumiana wants to doom up Dendi, but he's going to have to BKB in order to do it. And the level death, okay, that helps. A lot of burst damage, and they Glimmer Cape anyway, but the Ice Path will connect. In comes Funnick, starts up the duel, but Mumiana's just so strong. The Lich only coming into this fight, and with the duel breath as well, where's that side? It's going to be enough. The Legion is down for 90 seconds. The Yule Scepter over onto the Razor, allowing the Ice Path to connect onto the Razor too, and Fly, he's too close. The Plasma Field will get the kill for Avost, but this Doom is still up, and Avost, holy, okay, that is 2 multipliers on the level death. Miracles on the back of PSM, and this is the fight that Monkeys were searching for, when Na'Vi just pushed it a little bit too far, and now they lose 3 heroes in quick concession.
Maybe he thought he just wasn't going to escape anyway, but he had that Glimmer Cape for a little while. Or maybe he wanted to bait out the unstable concoction and force Big Daddy No-Tail to stun himself. Maybe he thought that was the only way he would get out.
Maybe. I should also say succession.
Yeah. Ethereal Blade for the Alchemist. This will help out against the duel. It's a very interesting concept, I guess. Because his items are a little bit oxymoronic in a way.
Yeah.
Because you have the unstable concoction, physical damage nuke paired up with a solar crest. which is minus armor, and then you're like, go ahead and just remove all that physical damage with Ethereal Blade and put him in this passive state. But I think it's meant to be this counter versus the duel to make sure that whoever is grabbed survives through that, because they do have a lot of sustain behind it. So if he's taking nukes and stuff during that period of time, he's probably not going to die. And then once he's outside of the duel and they're free to, say it's like the Necrophos, you know, that's such a big hero. They keep him alive through the duel. He gets off a Death Pulse, Guardian Greaves, he turns around, throws out a Reaper's Sight. That's a game-winning maneuver if they can keep him alive. So
she also flagged to the fact that we misread the point booster. There's a soul booster now over on Miracle.
Yeah, I was going to say that they can still go in Aghanims on Miracle, and he can go in Octarine Core.
Yeah.
That would be, like, if your traditional Necrophos items would be like Blink Dagger, Rod of Atos, and then Aghanims, Octarine. Octarine has so much value with the very low cooldown of Death Pulse, and then obviously you want more Reaper size if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like Monkeys are still preparing to battle out for that, because if you're going to get that Aghanim Scepter up, NOTAL needs still to find a little bit more space, because he built the E-Blade, and that means he'll probably need another maybe 5 to 10 minutes to farm up something like an Aghanim Scepter for the Necro. And still have buyback for the fights too.
I have heard this from a couple of people. While his tiny performance is really sick, his people sometimes identify Big Daddy NOTAL. I've heard his name the most as the weakest link of Monkey Business, which is really surprising. It just goes to show the strength of the team. But in this game, like, he hasn't died yet. He played the early game fantastically with the Blink Dagger Solar Crest. Like, he made for a very strong ganker that provided a lot of space for not only himself to farm, but obviously the Doom and the Necrophos. Well, the Doom to stay ahead of everyone and continue to put pressure, but the Necrophos to come back into this game.
Yeah, it's the self-sacrificing kind of approach which he takes. Like, you know how to win the game. You just got to sacrifice yourself to do it in a way. It's all for the greater good.
Daedalus is coming in for Dendi. I think he's just trying to hold on to buyback. The BKB pickup for the Razor. I think you go Ags next still on him. Razors have been putting much less priority in Aghanim Scepters.
It was ever since they stopped doing the whole refresh your Aghanim Scepter push up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you just buff up your armor, and instead you get something like an Assault Cuirass to work.
Yeah, a lot more going for the stats of SNY, BKB, and then, as you said, AC eventually.
Yeah.
Legion Commander's slowed down enough that you can't rely on her to go the AC, so yeah, maybe Havost will go that item.
I'm a little concerned. Actually, he's not. He's going for King Bar instead.
Yeah, this is a good change because...
Solar Crest.
Yeah, because of that Solar Crest. I was really curious. I didn't want to question Dendi, and there was a lot of things to talk about, but I was just like, why are you going Crystallis over MKB? Because there's a Solar Crest. You saw the issues you had with the Doom earlier, but everything makes much more sense now. Now that he's going to complete the MKB. And Crystallis, I guess, is really cheap damage.
He's got to be careful, though. They sacrificed buyback in order to do this, and they just smoked up as a 3-man smoke only. Actually, sorry, I take it back. Razor was also caught inside of this. So they push in closer. They'll find an Invis rune. Roshan's still got over a minute before he'll spawn up. The Octarine Core now gets completed for the Necro, too. So we have a 52.5-second cooldown over on that Reaper's Scythe. But they're ready to fight. Monkeys is in the perfect position. They don't move down far enough. The Observer Ward's going to be close, and then Havost actually gets it triggered. Funnick will move up as well. But it's because the smoke broke, the Monkeys won't want to come down. They don't know how much is behind Havost.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to take that fight, Monkey Business don't want to take fights right now unless they're forced into for an objective, and in this case, it would be Roshan. So if they are going to have a fight, it's going to be on their terms, right? So that's why they don't go down that cliff area. They say, go ahead. If you come up that cliff area, we guaranteed win the fight, because positioning in team fights is really difficult when you're going up staircases. So you're just going to get outmaneuvered, and everyone's going to get off their spells.
They're both waiting. Like, everyone's just waiting on the top of a staircase.
Yeah, now Na'Vi figure, okay, Monkey Business, now it's their turn to smoke up. They're going to try and catch us, but it's all about getting that pick off for Roshan.
And who's even got the ways in? Monkeys now? Okay. Because you can blink in NOTAL, but no, as well as the Necro, but that's going to be all. Everyone else is... you got the Jakiro as well, but you just have to sit outside the base in a way.
everyone looks for the little advantages in standoffs like this, and it's usually like, okay, go ahead and push out that middle lane, right? So if they stick around as a 5-man crew, at least that middle lane will push into the tier 3 or something like that. But Monkey Business have the bigger small advantage, which is that the top lane's pushing out, and Na'Vi can't rotate to do it because Monkey Business would immediately funnel into the Roshan pit and take it, or force the 4 versus 5.
Like, in a way, you could use relocate to go up there and clean up the wave, but you kind of want to have that defensive relocate during the fight, so you get a second life onto somebody else. And now they push up, Moon Meander, they go for PSM, the Observer was on the hillside, and Zaneko trying to keep PSM alive, he's able to do so, the duel is over on Doom, and what can he do apart from actually live through this one? Tries to go for the Doom, but he can't get it off in time. There's 2 down, the buybacks are coming in, and the Necro's down on the sidelines. They can fall off into crit, so much damage from Denny, going to turn the ulti on, but now Moon Meander comes in with the relocate, takes Denny all the way back home. All the way to base, so you just force out 2 buybacks from the Doom as well as the Necro. You might lose the Wisp, but it's worth it.
Yeah, Seneko. Sorry, buddy. There's no surviving here. Now, what Monkey Business will probably do is try and go Roshan here anyway.
They have to.
Buyback immediately from... Yeah, this is...
The line's drawn by PSM was like, get yourself to the pit right now.
Yeah, exactly. Funnick knows that if Monkey Business are allowed to go into the Roshan pit, they'll do it. Like 3 versus 2, they'll take Roshan so quickly. So Na'Vi basically ensure that Roshan is theirs by preemptively throwing out the buybacks.
I'm not sure this is theirs though.
It'll...
Like, they at least stop Monkeys from doing it.
Yeah.
The damage isn't bad, but everyone's coming back up now. Like, you don't have the Lich ulti, but the macro pies back up. Okay, yeah, Monkeys aren't even in position. I thought with an acid spray, as well as a little bit of harassment, they could slow down Na'Vi from doing this, but they don't.
Yeah, they probably could have been there in time to force the 5 versus 5, but they're in a distinct disadvantage because they don't actually have very good, like, big Roche contesting heroes, right? No big AoE control or anything like that.
No,
and then if you think about it, yeah, if you're forcing the fight and you don't have good AoE control, you don't have a Roshan advantage. So if you go into there and whoops, they've taken Roshan, they just picked up the Aegis and Cheese, you just lost a fight before, now you're fighting into an Aegis and Cheese. There's no way.
Real trouble, blink up, there's your duel. Standing on him, the relocate's coming in too, looking for the AoE stun. Not going to help, Miracle, he's going to survive long enough, however. There comes your Greaves, and they just run themselves in that side, just knock me up damage to kill off Funnick, and Denny splits in the middle of the fight, turns on that Requiem himself, forcing Monkeys back, but the Wisp is down, Moomian is going to join him in a moment. So 1 for either side from the sideline. And Monkeys has to really fall back and just hold the line.
The call... It's tough to say whether an Aghanim Scepter would make the difference here, but you saw the power of the Ethereal Blade. It kept the Necrophos alive, which was so important. They made an inefficient trade, but at least they kept it from being a total pickoff.
You'll Scepter up by crit. PSM came in very, very close. Got another Ice Pump coming back off cooldown now. Hits Fly, hits Miracles. They crisscross the Ice Pass, and Denny try and bring down this range. Rex getting stunned out quite heavily. And Miracle, he's 8 seconds off the site. They burn through the Aegis, the Immortal. The Wisp already took out the Cheese, so they don't have that bonus from Roshan anymore. And Chris is trying to keep Dendy back. The Liquid Fire having no real effect. No-Tail jumping out for the sun as he hits PSM. But it's all about holding the high ground while the Doom as well as the Lich is down. And there's that Assault Cuirass from Havorst. Actually take it back. They actually pass the Cheese onto the Razor. So they still have this on Havorst.
They'll commit for the melee racks. Monkey Business. Don't think they should contest.
There's your duel. It's over on Miracle. The E-Blade stopping Funnick once again, but the Ice Path is there. The follow-up Ice Path Miracle. He's able to at least get the pulse off, but it's not enough to stay alive. The dual breath's doing its work on the Funnick, but with Seneko tethered up, and Havorst just doesn't care. He's so tanky anyway. They're able to bring down this mid-rank, and Na'Vi with a huge advantage. No concoction available, but the acid spray comes off cooldown. Funnick just trying to run himself out. They're successful at doing so, as No-Tail again goes for this E-Blade. Press the attack, breaks Dendy free, and Havorst doomed up. Moon Meander trying to ensure the kill here, and he should be able to. Havorst will tick out from this. 34, and yep, there he goes. He'll pop. PSM trying to juke it around the tree lines. The Ice Path is down, and there he is. Called out. No-Tail's able to find that kill. And Monkeys, they lose their mid lane, but Razor is down for a minute.
Again, the Ethereal Blade, beautiful counter to the duel. I gotta commend, you know, for me, I'm still a little 50-50 on whether or not the Aghanim Scepter would be worth it, but every single time I see the effectiveness of that Ethereal Blade against the duel, I commend NoTail more and more, because even if it is still 50-50, it's the outside-of-the-box thinking that NoTail...
He's got the Ags.
Yeah, I think other players would have just like naturally gone, oh, you know, I get the Ags now, etc., but...
They're going to pass it over now. And the question is, well, he's moving forward to keep the farm up, because obviously Necro is still down.
Yeah, because if Necrophos had actually survived just a little bit longer, he would have gotten off the Reaper Scythe on the Legion Commander. And then they would have had 2 heroes down for over a minute.
Their smoke didn't catch up, Moon. They really wanted it to as well. Funnick, he's running in with a Shadow Blade, so he's trying to jump in behind. Moon Meander is exposing himself, but it's to jump out. They managed to catch out the Wisp, but Snake going into a double Ice Path, and with the Lich holding, it'll bounce up. Actually, no, it won't. Denny will trigger his BKB. There's only Snako to drop, but NoTail once more. Concoction's still on cooldown for the moment, with a blink forward into the Ice Path, actually catching PSM as well. Denny being Glimmer caped up, but he can't run himself out this one. What do you steal? It's only level death, and Denny, the side is able to connect. 2 minutes on the sideline, where you do not have your SF. Being Necro down like that, and he actually got the Ags buff up just as that fight was beginning.
I was about to say, did they want to get Moon inside of that smoke? Because it felt more like to me Monkey Business wanted to bait out Moon and maybe say like, hey, Legion Commander, come pick him off.
They pinged like they lost Moon.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's the reason why it
maybe it was just maybe it was just happy circumstance, because then Legion Commander was like, oh, maybe I can go for this, but that Smoke Gate turned out way better. And again, it's the Ice Pass.
Yep.
The Ice Pass on both sides have been amazing. The fact that they caught Dendy there with the Ice Pass is what allowed them to be able to keep him in range for the kill.
Well, that's nice for PSM. He stole Acid Spray, making this push just a little bit harder, but it makes it so easy when Dendy is 100% dead for that long. It's another 66 seconds until Dendy will be back up into the world of the living.
Yeah, it's one pickoff. This is the thing about the Aghanim Scepter on Necrophos. One pickoff can end the game.
And they found another one. It's PSM. The Ice Path connects, and PSM is down so quickly. They can go for more. The duel, NoTail so low. The winner will be Funnick once again, but the side drops him down. Now over 2 minutes without the Legion Commander. It's gone from bad to worse. Monkeys just buy back. They bring in NoTail with the BTs. They can take 3 sets of practice here if they want to. While the Legion is gone, you've basically removed 300 damage a hit, as well as the control of duel.
Monkey Business are going all in. I mean, they bought back on NoTail, knowing that you get the one pick off and you just keep funneling it. Again, the downtime. There is no real downtime. Like, he's going to have Reaper Scythe up in 20 seconds at about the same time that the SF is coming back up, and he still has the Legion Commander down.
And they still have Doom. But the ulti is still waiting there for Moomy, and they go to the Ice Pump. There's just done a divorce. They actually try and return it with the Lotus Orb, which is down for Sineko, but at the end of the day, the Razor will pop. Now he'll have to buy back. Dendy is alive, and Monkeys might decide just to back it out of this one. They've still got their BKBs and Doom available. The Ice Path to fly out again. This time it won't actually connect over on a Voss, and Dendy triggers the BKB. Moonmeander just wants to get out of here. They have to spray back off cooldown, and Navi chasing it a very, very long way. Moonmeander, he's got the space now. They break the static link, only 63 points of damage stolen. The E-Blade and Neural Scepter up. A Voss being dual breathed up. Snako, he's got his carries back. They Lotus Orbit up again, and that's why they're trying to wait a little bit longer on that Doom. But Miracle, pick him up and throw him back down again. They do get through the Necro. He will buy back, but the Lich ulti coming into the fight. Now both PSM and a Voss have to split themselves up. The Concoction will connect to PSM, will end up dying here, but Monkeys, they've lost a hell of a lot for this. Chikira's on the sidelines. You already lost your Doombringer. And remember that these heroes did buy back. It's both the Necro as well as the Alchemist and the Chikira all bought back. So they're just going to play the safe game. Fall back and let the creep waves do their work.
Monkey Business. I thought it was a little bit risky them taking that top team fight still when they could have just backed out after the Razor chased forward so much. And they did lose a bit much, but they're still in so much control, all thanks to that initial pickoff.
Like if you look at that gold graph, it's just a huge gain from the gold, not the experience. The experience still belongs to Na'Vi.
Yeah, in total, that was obviously a gigantic Monkey Business win. It just snowballed itself, right? It went from the SF, then the Legion Commander. They forced out some buybacks. So even if they do kill, say, the Razor or the Razor or the, who else doesn't have buy? Oh, okay, it's just the Razor who bought back. But they kill him, not using Reaper Scythe. And then they kill someone else with the Reaper Scythe, 2 heroes dead for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And that really is where it ends up. It's just like, okay, so no matter what happens, doesn't matter if you got buyback. You can't prepare for this as Na'Vi. So if you go down to the scythe, you're out.
What?
Hmm?
What would Diffusal Blade offer you here? You can remove Solar Crest.
Wait, he's buying
You can slow
Diffusal?
down heroes. You've got double Blades of Alacrity on the Razor. Now, Diffusal has a lot more potential to it ever since the change of the cooldown, where you could just boom, boom, boom.
Oh, they're running in. The smoke's going to break on Monkey Stendi. 12, they BKB. Funnick's going to jump in, start the duel over on Crit. Jakiro, E-bladed up and Funnick. Okay, they can finish the job with the SF Razors kicking in. The Ice Path from PSF catching up Moon Meander. They'll pick him up and toss him back down again. They need to keep this Doombringer alive. The Score Shot's going to help with that. And the Lich ulti, well, it doesn't keep the bounce going. Another Ice Path from PSF, making it difficult for Monkeys to chase him. The Savor's in the tree line, running himself out of here. Nurgle to the front line, standing wide directly. Doesn't get the scythe off! Dendy's down! 2 minutes on the sideline, and they can keep on going. Blink and Concoction coming off cooldown now for Notel. Avorce will not be able to survive through this one. They'll get the stun. Miracle's behind him, and there it is. A double kill. The exact situation you're talking about, Cap. You kill off the Razor, and you scythe another hero. It is the SF, and it's the Razor. This is practically over.
Yeah, a minute and a half to take one lane of frags. That should be so easy for Monkey Business. It's child's play.
You don't even take care of the top lane. You take care, like, you push through the mid.
I mean, whatever they want. I mean, they can go and take out the top lane of Rags and get Megas, or they can go straight for the throne. It doesn't really matter too much. They know it's going to be 3 versus 5. The Jakiro just came back up, and he'll be joining them. But even if it was just the 3 cores of Monkey Business, they're just too big. I do have to say, Na'Vi impressed me with the way I thought this game was over by like 20 minutes, where I was thinking, okay, even when they hit their peak, when they have all the BKBs, I don't think they'll be strong enough to end this game, and Monkey Business will eventually come back.
Wow, Funnick. He's just going ham. He's up to Notel at the moment. The Ice Path is down. It's allowing Funnick to attack, and now the side. Funnick is on the sidelines. They actually tried to return it with Lotus, but no joy, and GG, well played. Monkeys will take game number 1 here against Na'Vi. And this, yeah. You know what, like, I was impressed as well with Na'Vi. It felt actually more like a 35-minute mark. Like, I was sitting there 25 minutes in going, okay, game is good. And then they fought back. Then you take out the mid-racks, and Na'Vi showed some spark of life. And then that mid-fight when Monkey's like, okay, now we push. The Aghanims was transferred over to the Necro, and you just... that death time.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
There's no ability to come back as well. It's like, what do you even do? Like, you can't plan for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know what this you can call this strategy, Toby? It's Control A Delete. All right, that's what it is, right? So because you have 2 different Reaper sites potentially, right? This is what happens with the Aghanim Scepter build and everything else. You get the Necrophos and Aghanims. You get the Doom Necrophos. They get the Refresher earlier. That's 4 heroes. You could just delete. You know, you could just take them out of the game entirely. It's absurd, but you could see the way that Na'Vi. The buyback on Moon Meander in the bottom lane, I think, was the one thing that really clinched this game for Monkey Business. Obviously, it was still really back and forth, but for me, that was the one part where I went, like, Monkey Business won that fight so well that they were never going to be seriously behind, right? And you could see that in the graphs. Even when Na'Vi were doing quite well for themselves at 30 minutes, it was still, the graph was quite even, and they had a chance to be able to defend. Winning that fight basically allowed them to be strong enough that they didn't lose the game at 25-30 minutes. They push it late enough with the Aghanims, and the farm efficiency just comes into play, and their heroes just end up being too strong. If they just did a little bit better in the early game as Na'Vi, didn't give up that first Roshan, things like that, they would have been, I think they just would have crushed this by 30-35. But Monkey Business played incredibly well. Moon Meander, for me, was the MVP. His Doom was insane. He really knew how to push the advantage, right? He just didn't stay there at that bottom lane. He went up to top and got a critical kill on the Legion Commander. He bought back in that scenario. Despite him losing effectiveness later on into the game, I think it was the early game that was really the important part for Monkey Business, and Moon Meander was that. It
was the timing of the whole team. Like, in fact, like you said, okay, well, yeah, Doombringer is going to be that early aggression, he's that early control. He's going to tail off, but that's when Necro kicks in. And Necro, in that 35 to plus moment, when you do have that Aghanim Scepter, like, you know that's how you win the game.
Yeah, Midas was the right choice for sure.
Yeah, it's not even just like one fight to win them all. It's just like one kill to win it all. And it's exactly what happens. So,
shout out to Notel for the Ethereal Blade, by the way. I love that.
Quality build, and the team player, 2 Aghanim shared. All right, we're going to have ourselves a small break, and we'll come back for game number 2 of Monkey Business up against Na'Vi. Stay tuned.